very welcome back. In lockdown, it seemed like everyone and their mother wanted to start a podcast, but few were as young as our next guest.
Yes, Logan Kelly has been podcasting since the age of 8, and 3 years later he joins us to chat about his hit podcast, Logan Sounds Off. How are you, Logan? Good to see you, sir.
I'm really, really good. Thank you. How about you guys?
Very well, thank you. See, he's starting already. You can see you've got the professional patter down. Come here. Why did you decide to make your own podcast?
Well, it already started when I got into the radio. I was looking at my parents going, I love music, but I want to be listening to something more interactive before I go to bed. So I got into radio. And then, after that, I decided, I'd love to do something like this. So I got a mic for Christmas, bigger than I thought, and a little tape recorder from an uncle. And I started off doing little tapes, and then I asked, can I do a YouTube channel? And then I started a YouTube channel, and I interviewed Keith Walsh, and that kicked off everything.
Keith was on here later on today,
yeah, and I thought it's amazing. And then about a year earlier, I started my podcast, Logan Sounds Off, and that's really where it all started.
Okay, have you had a favourite interview so far?
No.
No?
Everybody...
Very good answer.
Everybody brings so much to the podcast. Everybody brings these different aspects to music. I learn loads of different little, small, tiny little things in every single interview, and that's why I love doing the interviews, because not only do I have fun doing it, it's like edutainment.
Right.
Oh,
okay.
I like that. I haven't heard that phrase for edutainment. But it's basically about music, though. That's your passion. That's what you ask your guests about.
Yeah, music I've been listening to music since I was 4. All from heavy rock to classical music. I'm into it all.
Eclectic
I really
tastes.
Like it. Yeah.
Okay, so how much of an influence have your parents been on that musical taste?
Well, my dad, he gave me about 200, maybe 300 CDs when I was like 5 or 6, senior infants, first class. And I would root through this box of CDs after school, and I would flick through them, and I'd look at different CDs, and I'd put them on, and I'd listen to them. And when I got my first stereo, the first thing that I wanted to put on was Queens of Stone Age. And then my mum influenced completely different stuff, like 80s music. Whenever she'd be working out in the garden, the playlist 80s hits would be on. And I'd be listening to that. And that's how I kind of explored the different genres of music through these different things.
Okay.
Do you have a favourite band?
Oh, that's the impossible question.
It's possible. We all do. We all have one favourite song or band.
I do not. I kind of go through phases with bands that I would...
What phase are you in now, so?
The Pink Floyd / David Bowie phase.
Oh, that's
right.
Yes.
Okay, and have you reviewed any David Bowie songs of late?
Changes now. Yeah. The Changes Now Bowie album. Yeah. I bought that. That was, I think, my 3rd or 4th album that I bought on vinyl. And I did an album review on that. And then Pink Floyd I've done 2 album reviews on, and I wrote an album review for The Wall.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. So was it another brick in the wall that brought you into Pink Floyd?
Yes, the song Another Brick in the Wall. I was on a drive home with my dad, and I was listening to the radio, and Another Brick in the Wall started playing, and I went, who is this band? And I was so intrigued. So for about 2 years, I didn't think much of them. I only knew The Wall. And then I started listening to the actual album, The Wall, and then Dark Side of the Moon, and then Animals, and all these different albums by them.
Okay.
And now it is time for Logan to become poacher turned gamekeeper. He's giving us a grilling.
Okay.
Welcome back to IrelandAM. My name is Logan Kelly, and today I'll be interviewing the lovely Martin King and Elaine Crowley. How are you guys?
Very well, thank you. How
Logan.
are you today?
Thanks for having us on your show.
I'm very, very well, thank you. So, Elaine, I understand you studied in DIT. How did you find moving from Cork to Dublin to study?
Interesting question, actually, because I found it quite difficult because I'd done my leaving at 16, I was just 17. It was my first time away from home, and I think I was a little bit too young. So I did find it quite hard. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And Martin, like myself, your career began in radio. Was this something you always wanted to do?
television was something that I always had a plan for. I love radio. Radio, it's kind of that lovely theatre of the mind where you've got to paint pictures with words, which you do so well, by the way, if you don't mind me asking, saying to you. So, radio was, it's kind of like the first love, but television is my best love.
It just shows the passion there. So, Elaine, was television something that you always wanted to do?
No, I started in radio too, actually, as well, actually. I started off kind of making ads and promos, and I fell into it. Originally, I wanted to be an actor, and my dad said, I'm not paying for you to go to acting school. I'll pay for you to go make films if you want to. So I did film and broadcasting, and then the plan was to make films and then put myself in them. But then I started a part-time job in radio, and I was bitten by the radio bug, and then from then it was broadcasting all the way. Not necessarily television, unlike Martin, I kind of prefer radio, but yeah, it just kind of fell into it by accident.
Brilliant. And then, Martin, when you began it then in TV, how did you find it compared to radio? Because there are some differences.
Oh, massive differences. And the lovely thing about television is that it's visual. So there's kind of less need for you to paint a picture for somebody because they can see it for themselves. But it's sometimes you just let the picture tell the story and you can just add to it. So yeah, I've always enjoyed television, and I love that lovely transition from one to the other.
Yeah. That's brilliant. I myself, when I'm watching television, I love the amount of television programmes that can play in one clump, even though they might be all different. Yeah. So then, Elaine, what do you enjoy about working in TV? Do you have a favourite aspect of it? Or do you just like TV in general? I
like meeting people like you, young man, because you are the future, I have to say. So thank you so much for doing this with us today. It's absolutely wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
I've really enjoyed it.
We've enjoyed you interviewing us as well. So thanks for that, Logan. I think you need to do a read to the break, though.
You can now hear more from my podcast, Logan Sounds Off, wherever you get your podcasts. Now, back to you guys.
I'm going home.
Yeah,
I'm going home. I don't need to be here at all today. Would you mind doing the rest of the shift for me?
No. Rugby's on today.
Busy. He's got the rugby going on. Well, we can't afford him.
We actually can't afford you. It's grand. We just get Keith Walsh to help us out. Now, still to come, could broadcaster Keith Walsh, your buddy, turn out to be Ireland's next world sports champion? See you for that in 3.